Close your eyes. Let your breath slowly sink, like the tide receding toward the open sea. Now, imagine you are standing at an ancient port, not seeing it with your eyes, but smelling it with your nose. The sea breeze blows in from the southeast, carrying the scent of salt, the scent of damp wood, and a fragrance you cannot name. It is very faint, almost buried beneath the saltiness of the sea wind. Yet, you dimly sense that something distant hides within it. Is it the sweetness of cinnamon or the sharpness of clove? You are not sure. When the sailors of the Tang Dynasty first smelled this scent, they were not sure either. They only knew that following the trail of this fragrance would lead to places whose very names sounded like dreams. Champa, Malacca, Ceylon, Basra. This invisible road came to be called by later generations the Maritime Silk Road. But a more accurate name would be the Spice Route, because the ships were not pulled forward by silk. They were drawn inch by inch toward the horizon by these invisible drifting scents. Now, let us follow these fragrances together and drift slowly out to sea. You do not need to move. You do not need to think. Just follow the scent. Follow the rise and fall of the waves. Follow the rhythm of your breath. With every exhale, drift a little farther from the shore. With every inhale, smell something new. The old, familiar, everyday scents are fading. Ahead lies an unfamiliar sea, warm, carrying the scent of clove and cardamom. Let us not rush out to sea just yet. Before you smell the distant shores, first smell the place of departure. Quanzhou, the largest port in the world during the Song and Yuan dynasties. When Marco Polo left China from here, he called it Zayton. Not because the city was full of erythrina flowers, but because its warehouses were overflowing with spices. Close your eyes and walk with me into a warehouse in Zayton. The moment the door swings open, the air suddenly grows thick. It is not humidity, it is centuries of accumulated scent. The earthy tang of ginger, the sweet bitter of cassia bark, the licorice-like warmth of star anise, the faint sourness of dried tangerine peel. They have settled layer upon layer into the wooden beams, the hemp sacks, the stone floor, like a ledger written in smell. Each strand of fragrance corresponds to an outbound ship. This sack is bound for Champa. That chest is headed for Malacca. The light inside the warehouse is very dim. Only a few shafts of sunlight fall through the courtyard opening, illuminating the floating dust motes. More than half of those motes are spice powder, ground fragments of cassia bark, fine particles shed from dried ginger, slowly spinning in the beams of light, like an invisible garden. The warehouse masters do not need to read labels. They simply dip a finger into a sack, pinch a bit to the tip of their nose, and can name the origin, the year, the grade. That scent is their only contract with the world. You stand deep inside the warehouse, the silence so complete, you can hear your own heartbeat. Try taking a deep breath. Can you smell it? That is the slight numbing sweetness of cassia bark on the tongue, mingled with the warmth of star anise, a warmth akin to licorice, but not quite licorice. In a few days, these fragrances will be loaded onto ships. They will cross the South China Sea, bound for the places you are about to visit in your dreams. It is early morning now. The tide is rising. On the stone piers of Quanzhou Harbor, dozens of barefoot sailors are carrying the last chest of spices aboard. The ship you are sailing on is a Fuqing junk, the most common Singing merchant vessel of the Song dynasty. 2 large eyes are painted on the prow, not for decoration, but because the ancients believed a ship needed eyes to see the reefs ahead. In the junk's lower hold, spice chests are stacked in night rows, wrapped layer by layer in oil paper, and bound with hemp rope. Above the lower hold are watertight compartments, each sealed off from the others, the proudest invention of Fuqing shipwrights. Even if the waves breach 1 or 2 compartments, the ship will not sink. The mooring lines are cast off. The hull sways gently once, then the sound of oars, then the low, swelling boom of canvas filling with wind. The temple bells on the shore are still faintly audible, but the figures on the dock are already thinning in the morning mist. The color of the sea shifts from muddy yellow to pale green, from pale green to deep blue. The air begins to change as well. That enclosed, concentrated spice scent of the warehouse is scattered by the sea breeze and recombines into a different smell. Damp hemp ropes, deck planks soaked in tung oil, canvas heated by the sun, and the faint camphor fragrance occasionally drifting up from the depths of the hold. Camphor used by the ancients to repel insects, layered between the spice chests like an invisible line of defense. You stand on the deck. Behind you, the land grows smaller and smaller. Ahead of you, an endless expanse of sea. Someone begins to sing, a sailor's work chant, not for entertainment, but to set the rhythm for the oars. The melody is very slow, about the speed of a heartbeat. Night falls. The nights on the South China Sea are nothing like nights on land. On land, even the darkest night still holds some light. A neighbor's window, a distant street lamp, the sky stained dark orange by the city. But on the South China Sea, the night is absolute. Overhead, the stars are so dense they are almost suffocating. When there is no moon, the Milky Way flows from bow to stern like a river of light. The sailors lie on the deck. They do not count stars. Those stars are their only map. The North Star tells them where north lies. The Southern Cross tells them how far they are from the equator. When the sea is calm, the stars reflect in the water, and you cannot tell where the sky ends and the sea begins. The entire ship seems to float in a bowl of starlight. This is only the surface calm. Deeper down, the sea breathes. You can feel the hull rise and fall in an extremely slow rhythm. Not a slab of waves, but a vast unhurried swelling and sinking, as if some enormous creature is turning in its sleep on the seabed. The air now carries only salt. All the spice scents brought aboard from Quanzhou on this boundless sea finally reveal their true weight. They are too light enough for a single gust of sea wind to scatter them. And these sailors, carrying tons of cassia bark and star anise, crossing thousands of miles of ocean, only to trade these dried barks and seeds for pepper and frankincense in some foreign port thousands of kilometers away. If you think about it, it is almost an absurd kind of faith. Yet this is humanity. For a few seconds of fragrance in the nose, we will spend a lifetime at sea. On the 7th day of sailing, the color of the sea suddenly changes again, from deep blue to emerald green. This means land is near. Champa has arrived. Today, central and southern Vietnam, but on the navigation charts of the Song dynasty, it was a kingdom famous for aloes wood. To approach the port of Champa, you need no pilot. You only need to close your eyes and follow the scent. Aloes wood is the strangest spice in the world. It does not grow on trees. When trees of the Aquiloria family are wounded, they secrete resin to heal themselves. Over decades, even centuries of slow alcoholysis, the wood transforms from white to deep brown and releases that cool, faintly sweet, medicinal fragrance. In the spice markets of Champa, aloes wood is traded by weight. No, by the mace. The finest Gara-grade aloes wood. A single till can be exchanged for a till of gold. Yet it smells nothing like opulence. You could even say you have to bring your nose very close to catch that elusive, barely their sweetness. This happens to be exactly the scent a sleep story needs. Gentle, restrained, unassuming, like a person speaking slowly beside your ear, voice growing softer and lower, finally dissolving into breath. Besides aloes wood, Champa also produces a black bark cinnamon. Unlike the sweet bitter of Chinese cassia, Champa cinnamon's heat is more direct. It gathers like a small warm knot behind the nasal cavity, slowly unfurling. The sailors unload some of their Chinese spices in Champa and take on aloes wood oil and black cinnamon. The olfactory map of the hold is redrawn. The ship continues southward. When the air grows sticky and coconuts and nameless tropical fruits begin to drift on the sea's surface, you know, the Strait of Malacca has arrived. This is the throat of the spice route, a narrow channel pinched between the Malay Peninsula and Sumatra. Every ship traveling from China to India must pass through here. The port of Malacca is a labyrinth built of sand. You walk from the dock into the market. The moment you step inside, your nose opens to an entirely new dimension. The fragrance of clove is like a long, fine needle, piercing straight to the depths of the nasal cavity, clean, sharp, with an almost anesthetic quality. The scent of nutmeg is entirely different, round, warm, enveloping, like holding a warm candy in your mouth. Then there is the numbing tingle of Sichuan pepper, the sweetness of fennel, the earthy note of turmeric. These scents do not arrive one by one. They rush in all at once, like an orchestra without a conductor. Each instrument playing its own note, yet mysteriously harmonious. On the spice ships of Malacca, the most precious cargo is clove. Cloves are not flowers. There are the unopened buds of the clove tree. They must be picked while still green-tinged before the bud has bloomed, then dried in the sun until they turn deep brown. Each clove resembles a tiny iron nail, hence its Chinese name, which also means nail. The Dutch once cut down every clove tree on every island, except Ambon, all to monopolize the trade. That sharp scent you are smelling right now, the one that makes your nasal cavity tingle slightly, it once sparked wars. Through the Strait of Malacca and before you lies the Indian Ocean. This is a sea utterly unlike the South China Sea. The South China Sea has islands, reefs, fishing lights, coastlines. A navigator can always catch sight of land. The Indian Ocean, by contrast, is a boundless expanse of deep blue silk, stretching to the edge of sight with nothing in it. The only guide is the monsoon. Every year from June to September, the southwest monsoon blows from the east coast of Africa toward India and Southeast Asia, carrying warm, moist air masses that push the sailboats northeast. Every year from November to February, the northeast monsoon blows from the Asian continent toward the Indian Ocean, in precisely the opposite direction. Arab merchants long ago mastered a secret. If you set out from the Arabian Peninsula riding the southwest monsoon in June, you can reach India in 2 months. Then, when the northeast monsoon arrives in November, you can sail from India to Malacca. And then, the northeast monsoon continues pushing you toward China. The entire spice route is essentially a conveyor belt powered by wind. You only need to be at the right port at the right time, and the wind handles the rest. No oars, no engines, not even much navigational skill. You lie on the deck, listening to the canvas thrumming in the wind, like lying in a cradle gently nudged by an enormous hand. The scent of spices in the air has been stretched very thin across the sea's surface. You can barely smell it now, but you know what lies in the hold. The sharpness of clove, the roundness of nutmeg, the tingle of pepper, the warmth of cinnamon, resting quietly in their oil paper wrappings, waiting to reach the next port, to be opened by another pair of unfamiliar hands. When the monsoon has pushed you across the widest stretch of the Indian Ocean, you will see a deep green line on the horizon. That is the west coast of India, Malabar. Of all spices, pepper is the most unassuming. It is not sharp like clove. It is not warm like nutmeg. It is not sweet like cinnamon. It is not priceless like aloes wood. Pepper is merely some dried, shriveled black spheres, smaller than grains of rice, lightweight in the palm, giving off only a faint hint of heat. Yet, these humble little spheres were once used by Roman nobles as currency to pay taxes. Medieval Europeans called them black gold. The city-states of Venice and Genoa fought decades-long wars to monopolize its trade. On the Malabar coast, pepper vines twine around tall wooden stakes, strings of green berries hanging down, resembling miniature grapes from a distance. The pickers must harvest the berries at the precise moment they turn from green to red. A day too early and they lack heat. A day too late and they are too soft. The harvested peppercorns are scalded in boiling water, then spread under the sun for 3 days. The skin dehydrates and wrinkles, transforming into the familiar black spheres you know. On the pepper drying grounds, the pungent fumes rise thick. Standing downwind, you will sneeze uncontrollably. Yet, strangely, once the peppercorns are dried and stored in the ship's hold, mingling with the other spices, they are no longer sharp. They become a foundation, a bass note that weaves all the separate fragrances together. You may never have noticed it, but without it, all the scents along the entire spice route would scatter apart, like an orchestra missing its best section. From Malabar, continue south, round the southernmost tip of the Indian subcontinent, and you will see an island shaped like a teardrop. Ceylon, today's Sri Lanka. If Malabar is the kingdom of pepper, Ceylon is the paradise of cinnamon. The cinnamon here is different from everywhere else. Champa's black cinnamon is sharp and direct. Malacca's cinnamon is sweet with a bite. But Ceylon cinnamon, locally called true cinnamon, carries a clear translucent sweetness, almost no heat at all, akin to warm honey water. It is not the sweetness of the bark itself, but the scent released as the essential oils in the inner bark slowly oxidize during the peeling process. The finest Ceylon cinnamon comes from the inner bark of the cinnamon tree. The harvester uses a specially curved knife to scrape away the outer bark, then makes a careful circular cut along the curve of the branch, and with the back of the blade, slips the entire inner bark off the branch. The stripped bark is rolled into thin, tight scrolls, like miniature parchment scrolls, and left to slowly dry in the shade. During the drying process, the bark curls naturally, layer nesting inside layer, eventually becoming those pale brown cinnamon sticks you see in spice shops. Hold a stick of Ceylon cinnamon to your nose. Do not inhale sharply. Just rest it lightly before your nostrils. That sweetness is not the sweetness of sugar. It is a warm, woody, faintly citrus peel fragrance. Very slow, very gentle, as if it is in no hurry for you to notice it. You will remember the aroma of braised meat from your childhood kitchen, the mulled wine of Christmas, the gingerbread of winter. All these warm, safe memories are hidden within the scent molecules of this slender roll of bark. Leaving Ceylon before the northeast monsoon dissipates, turn the bow northwest toward the Arabian Peninsula. This leg of the voyage is the most ancient on the entire spice route. Thousands of years before Chinese merchant ships reached these waters, the Phoenicians and Arabs were already sailing this route back and forth. They carried neither pepper nor cinnamon. They carried something that flows from trees, frankincense and myrrh. The frankincense tree grows in the arid mountains of southern Arabia and the Horn of Africa on barren limestone ridges where almost no other plant survives. The tree is not tall, twisted branches, sparse leaves. It looks like a stunted shrub tormented by wind and sand for a very long time. But when you cut a gash into its trunk, a miracle occurs. White resin slowly seeps from the wound, like the tree weeping. These resin droplets harden in the dry desert air, turning into translucent pale yellow granules, the size and shape of tiny tears. The Arabs call frankincense the sweat of the gods. Light a small piece of frankincense. It will not burst into open flame. It only slowly melts, releasing a rich, woody fragrance with lemon undertones, like an ancient prayer floating in the air. Myrrh is deeper still. Its scent is bitter, medicinal, profound, like a root beneath the earth. In ancient Egypt, myrrh was used as an embalming spice in the making of mummies because it allowed a living form to remain whole after death. The fragrances of these two resins are unlike all the spices that came before. They come not from bark, not from flower buds, not from seeds. They come from the wounds of trees. The final leg of the voyage, at the mouth of the Shatt al-Arab, where the river meets the sea, a warm city waits for you at the edge of the desert, Basra. The spice market here is not hidden in a rainforest like Champa, not under a palm-thatched shelter like Malaga, and not spread out to dry under the open sky like Malabar. The spice market of Basra is an indoor labyrinth of stone, narrow alleys flanked by arched shops, their thresholds worn mirror smooth by centuries of footsteps. Overhead, an arched vault filters the fierce sun into a warm gold that falls upon the heaped mounds of spices. Cumin is gray-green, piled at the far left. Turmeric is orange-red, piled in the center. Green cardamom pods are pale green on the outside, black seated on the inside, resting on brass plates like nests of black insect eggs. And there is saffron, the most expensive spice in the world, each strand a stigma of the saffron crocus. A single flower yields only 3 strands. Dried, they become deep red filaments. Walking through these alleys, you do not need to look for your way. Your nose will navigate. Turn left for the cinnamon section, the air sickly sweet. Turn right for the pepper section, the pungency making you furrow your brow slightly. Walk straight ahead, all the way to the deepest corner, and you reach the small alcove of frankincense and myrrh. There, a small charcoal brazier always burns. Frankincense slowly melts on the embers, and the white smoke rises in a straight column to the vaulted ceiling, where it unfurls into a thin veil draped over all the spices. These spices, having set out from China, crossing the South China Sea, Malacca, the Indian Ocean, Ceylon in this stone labyrinth at the desert's edge, they have finally completed their journey. The Fujian sailors will load frankincense and myrrh here in Basra and wait for the next season's monsoon to carry them home. The journey ends here. You have smelled them all: the sweet bitter of cassia, the warmth of star anise, the sharpness of clove, the roundness of nutmeg, the peppery base note, the warm honey comfort of cinnamon, the cool stillness of aloes wood, the ancient prayer of frankincense, the deep bitterness of myrrh. There are like 12 musical notes, beginning with the first low murmur at Quanzhou, joining one by one at every port, and finally, beneath the vaults of Basra, completing their final chord. Now, all these fragrances have fallen quiet. They no longer rush eagerly into your nostrils. They no longer assert themselves in the air. They have sunk into your memory like sand sinking to the seabed, grain by grain, settling in the deepest place. You no longer need to chase any scent. The ship has docked. The monsoon has stilled. The sailors have dispersed. The market has closed. The last nugget of resin in the frankincense burner has burned to nothing. Only a faint lingering warmth remains, flickering on the embers at the edge of extinction. Now upon the face of the sea, there is no scent at all, only clean, cool, empty night wind. This, perhaps, is the fragrance most suited to falling asleep. Not any specific spice, but emptiness. The cleanness of a beach after the tide recedes. The silence after all stories have been told. The deep, safe, complete stillness. You have traveled the entire spice route. Now you can sleep, like the sailors who drifted for months on the Indian Ocean monsoon. Lying in the depths of the hold, wrapped in the rise and fall of the waves, surrounded by all those dried barks, sun-dried buds, and wind-cured resin. Good night. Those fragrances will become another sea inside your dreams.